Hi, hello again. Welcome back to the Big Sam's Long Ball podcast. This is we're back sooner than we expected to be, really, didn't we? Because pretty much what happened yesterday, we saw a robbery live on television. It was an absolute disgrace, and we were talking about it, and we said we've got to do a podcast about this because it's. Yeah, I was just so angry yesterday. I must have been a nightmare to live with because I was just miserable. But I think it was justified. And I've been seeing a lot of comments today, and we're talking about the Arsenal Wolves game, which happened last night, and the sort of refereeing decisions that went around it, and all that. I mean, did you watch the game, Dan? Did you see? Yeah, you watched it.
Yeah, I watched the game. Charlotte's a big
Yeah,
Arsenal fan, so we put it on.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I was kind of doing like a number of different things, so I was sort of in and out
Hmm.
watching the game. And I thought what I saw of the first half, Arsenal were amazing.
It was the
Arsenal,
best. It's the best we've played. I
yeah,
think that was the best we played all season.
yeah, Arsenal
Yeah,
looked brilliant that first half. Pepe's really stepped up. Is it something like three
yeah,
goals in his last four starts, or something, or maybe four in five,
yeah,
something,
yeah.
something like that? And everyone likes to use the word flop really, really quickly. But it's good to see him kind of come back. And then
Yeah.
obviously, what happened. As a Liverpool fan, it's great to see another team get screwed over by
Mate,
officials.
mate, it's happened all season, all season. It's been
But
that,
I have to say,
yeah.
people saying, "Oh, the referees are cheat," all of this, all that. I'm going to be controversial. I thought the ref made the correct decision.
Look, you right. You and that bloody Peter Walton at half time. At the bloody half time. He sat in that studio, in the BT studio, and he called out David Luiz on numerous offences he's done in the past. It was wrong to call out that player because I mean, sure he's had mistakes, but you should never personally call out someone like that live on television. I thought that was a disgrace to begin with, and also the fact that everyone else was saying that if David Luiz went and hacked that guy down who was through on goal, it was a yellow card, right? But because he unintentionally clipped him, it means it's a red card because he wasn't going for the ball or he wasn't doing anything like that. I mean, what sort of rule is that when it comes to football? I mean, has that ever? Because I don't know. It must have happened before. I don't know why this game sort of brought up that rule. It must have happened before in a game before. But it's it just boggles my mind, and I don't know if it's because it's David Luiz and the referee I think it was Craig Pawson, wasn't it?
Mm.
I don't know if he knows that David Luiz has got history, being clumsy and mistakes, and that's why he gave it a red. I'd be amazed if it was a different defender. Say if Virgil van Dijk did that tackle, there was no way he's going to get sent off. I'm sorry, but I think it's the person that did it, and this the circumstance, and also it was after the stoppage time. We had 2 minutes stoppage time, and it was like 94th minute, and I was like, "Where's this coming from?" It's so annoying, and that literally cost us the game because, like you said beforehand, we were playing so good. Thomas Partey was bossing the midfield,
Mm.
right? Daka hit the post, had a goal disallowed. I mean that was controversial anyway. I thought that was onside. Lacazette. I mean, I don't know what this because I thought if your hand's offside, is that offside now? If it's your hand,
Yeah,
if you're up.
it's ridiculous. I remember last year, Aston Villa away, an amazing game. Liverpool beat them like
Yeah.
2-1. Last two goals in the last 90 seconds. It was mental. But Firmino scored in the first half, I think, to make it 1-1. And his foot was behind. I can't remember who it was. Let's just say Tyrone Mings for the sake of it. His foot was behind Tyrone Mings, but because his armpit was in front of him, it
Hmm.
was ruled out for offside. When do you
Hey, it
score
makes
with
no
your
sense.
armpit? It's
What's happened to football? What's happened? I mean, in that Aston Villa Southampton game,
yeah.
Southampton that handball. The guy was like a snow angel. And it freaking hit his arm, and the referee was like, "Not handball. What is handball? What's anything anymore?
Look, I,
Look,
I'll
bring back
be.
the days of Henri and Bergkamp and proper rules and
Uh,
happy memories. But
Not
yeah,
those days with bloody Howard Webb as the Man United 12th player. But
yeah.
look, I'll be controversial. I actually felt quite bad for the referee. Because we're gonna have a big argument. Because look, when I watched it live, I sat there with Charlotte watching it, And
Yeah.
in real time, I was like, what has Luis done? It's a blatant penalty.
But the guy hit his leg. It was the
Yeah.
striker.
And then
Luis didn't go for it. It was the striker hit him. It
And
should have been
then-
a foul on Luis, I say.
and and then when the replay happened, I turned to Charlotte and I said, "Oh, don't worry about it." I didn't even think it was a penalty, so I said VAR will overturn this. But the red card happened so quickly. It was literally set. He gave the penalty, and then
he couldn't wait.
he
couldn't wait to send him off.
It was like one of those. It was like one of those FIFA refs in that animation where he does a little jog. So I thought I didn't even think it was a penalty, but I kind of thought, well, the way that the commentators were talking, I thought, okay, it will be a penalty. I mean, Martin Keown, I mean, what's happened to him? I thought he was an Arsenal legend. He bloody hates you lot, didn't he? Clearly Tottenham through and through, that man. But yeah, I watched it and I didn't even think it was a penalty. And the reason why I feel sorry for the ref is because I suppose if you look at the rules, he followed it step by step and he did the right thing. But this is where the big argument is common sense. It's not a penalty. David Luiz, I mean, forget the red card. It's not a bloody penalty. David Luiz doesn't touch him. He kicks David Luiz's leg and then he kicks the floor. Unluckily for him, he stacks it and falls over. It was a shocking decision from.
Oh, what? Right. Yeah, all that aside, but Bern Leno had a goal kick on the. It was the 10 seconds to a second from half time, and he kicks the ball up. And every time that happens, you always see the ref blowing for half time. Every time the goal kick does it, he didn't. He obviously saw Wolves got the ball, and he thought, you know what?
He couldn't wait.
He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait. He bloody did the through ball himself. That ref. It was a disgrace. And look, even I saw today. I mean, Mark Clattenburg came out and said he would have given a yellow. You know, he's a respectable ref. I think. I mean, he's probably made a few clangers in his time, but he's a professional referee. John Terry came out. I mean, be that as it is. But,
John Terry. What's he got to do with it? It wasn't in Aston Villa, was it?
No, it wasn't Aston Villa, but he's just probably helping his Chelsea teammates out. But,
just eyeing up David Luiz's wife, wasn't he?
But the thing, right, and I've looked up some stats as well. Arsenal have had 5 red cards this season, which is more than any Premier League team.
Well, there we go. I mean, Mikel Arteta, he can't handle his players, can he?
No, it's not. Look, don't you be blaming Arteta for this. So we had Gabriel, Luiz, Leno, Xhaka, and Pepe have all been sent off this season. And then the next team that's got the most reds is Brighton, and Fulham and Southampton and West Brom have all got 3 red cards. That Pepe one with that little headbutt that he gave that player in that game, I don't think that should have been a red card.
Oh, Chris, no, you're talking nonsense. Look, yes, it's not much of a headbutt. I agree. If he did that in the UFC, he'd probably get his face knocked off. But in football, if you go face to face with someone and you make a slight movement, yes, it's ridiculous. But that's on Pepe. He was an idiot for doing it.
Yeah, well, he's an idiot. But there's been other chances. There's been other players that have done worse things than that and gotten away with it this season. I'd say it's all. I don't think there's any bias against Arsenal with the referees, but it definitely seems. No. But these red cards, they always happen at such crucial games as well, and I don't think it is Arteta's fault. I think he is managing them okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if the players just lack discipline. I don't know. I mean, like I say, Xhaka got sent off for stupid tackles before in the past and everything. But even when we went down to 10 men with Luiz getting sent off, I still thought we had a chance. But then second half comes out, and I don't know where that bloody Matinho just thought, you know what, this is freaking rocket one from miles out, and it went, right in. He hasn't scored in so long, that guy as well.
What a goal!
And
it
was a good goal.
I mean, as livid as you are, I mean, this is how angry you are almost 24 hours later. God knows what you were like last night. But I mean, that's worthy of winning any goal. It was stunning.
And you thought, we could come back. I thought taking Lacazette off was probably the maybe the right decision to do and
Well,
replace him with Gabriel?
I'll
Because
disagree with you there. But you carry on. I said this to Charlotte. I thought Arteta had a shocker with his change.
rather than keeping him on because he's further up the field and trying to play. Would you take a midfielder off? Would you have done?
You seem to okay. You brought Aubameyang on probably 10 minutes into the second half, and he he seemed to play out wide. And I just think when you when you go down to 10 men, I think the obvious choice is always to take a striker. So I get it, but I think Arsenal was so good on the counter attack and with the pace, you needed someone to hold the ball up. And I really like Emil Smith Rowe, but you kind of played him up top, and as good as he is, he's not a number 9. So when the ball was going up to him, he couldn't hold on to it. So I think I would have taken him off and left Lacazette on. So that way, to relieve pressure, get the ball into Lacazette. He can hold the ball up and then see if he could play Pepe or Aubameyang or I can't even remember who else you had on the pitch.
Saka was there.
Saka, there we go. Of course, Saka. So I would have left Lacazette on the pitch just as a force. Physical, someone who can hold the ball up and then bring your quicker players into play. I thought it was.
Yeah, he has been our top goal scorer as well this season.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was just asking too much from Smith Rowe. Although I think he's a top player, I just don't see him playing in. When you're down to 10 men as a lone striker is arguably one of the most important roles on the pitch because you have to relieve so much pressure, and he just physically, I don't think he can do it. But
I mean, you could see what they were trying to do. Arsenal in the game, they were getting the ball to Thomas Partey, and Partey was pinging it over to the right-hand side of Saka, and he was pretty much just trying to cut in. And I suppose it would have been good because Lacazette would have been in the box for like a Saka pass or something. But I don't know. I guess what Arteta was thinking is that we could sort of stifle their midfield. I think we kept, like a 5-man midfield at the time, and try and like get Wolves that way. And I get there was no sort of target man up front, but I think we definitely had to bring on Gabriel to shore up the defence. But I mean, look, I hammer blow in like 4 minutes in the second half, and you're down 2-1. It's like an uphill battle. Lacazette wasn't really. He did all right in the game, but he was probably not one of his better performances, and I probably just took him off because of that. And he probably saw that Saka was sort of seemed to be getting the most chances in the game. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. And I don't think we even had a chance. But then I don't know what. I mean, Leno. I mean, it was. I mean, did he misjudge the bounce or something? Because it was.
It was terrible, wasn't it? It was so. I felt for him because it's just it happened so quick, didn't it? It obviously didn't bounce the way he was expecting it, and I suppose 9 times out of 10 he'll probably control it because he's very good with the ball at his feet, isn't he, Leno? And he probably thinks okay, but I suppose because you're chasing the game, you're already down to 10 men, and you've got that absolute monster Traore.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Usain Bolt speed.
He was
running down at you, so he probably just panicked. And he's so big, Traore, he probably couldn't see anything. So Traore was just there, this absolute wall running at him, and he just it was awful looking at it. But
the ball skidded. It looked like it was going to potentially go out of play, maybe for whatever, a goal kick or.
It's one of those things. I think if he'd let it just sort of go. If he was quite clever and sort of pretended that he was going to go for it first time, then Traore might have sort of stopped. He could have let it roll past him, and then even if he just puts it out of play for a throw in and then quickly, sprints back in goal, then it But
because Leno's been one of our better performers this season, I was really surprised by that because he's definitely because we've got some tough games coming up, and I don't know how many games he's banned for. I mean, is it 1 or 3?
I think a straight red is 3.
Is it 3?
I think Luis and Leno will probably be gone for 3 games. Although I've seen tonight that Arteta
trying to get it overturned.
Yeah, he's going to try and appeal the David Luiz red card. I don't think it will happen, unfortunately. Again, it's just by the rules, the ref made the right decision, but it's no common sense. He didn't touch him. It's not a foul. It's just
terrible rules.
Well, that's the thing.
Rewrite the rule book. Rewrite it. Mate,
well, this is the thing, isn't it? VAR is a mess. Everything's a mess. In football at the moment, like what is offside? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm still bitter about it. We should have beat Everton. Mane, he's not offside. Thiago plays a beautiful ball in. Mane does his thing. Henderson scores the winner. Yeah, passion.
I
Offside.
remember that.
And you're like, oh, for God's sake. And then, not only is it offside in the 90th minute, it's not offside because his hand is in front of him. And it's like, what is going on? And look, Liverpool and Arsenal aren't the only teams to be screwed over by strange decisions. I mean, look at, I didn't even say decisions properly. I went decisions and then strange decisions. But look at last night, Southampton, and you know, like, bloody hell, I can't believe. We
At
did.
least we capitulate like them. I mean,
Well,
they went down
that's
to
the thing. I
9
mean,
men and they conceded a goal for every player on the pitch.
I mean, that's a real positive for Arsenal, isn't it? Under Arteta, is that he's made you so much more solid, and going down to 9 men for like at least 20 minutes, wasn't it? I mean, to be fair, Southampton they went down to 9 men. What, about 5 minutes before the end of the game?
Yeah, but they lost that player really early on, didn't they? The youngster.
They were down to 10 men from like the first minute, but that's still not an excuse to concede like 8. I mean, come on. We did our team of the season 2 days ago. It was uploaded yesterday. I put 2 Southampton players in. And then in our ultimate team, we took Harry Kane out, put bloody Danny Ings in, and we argued whether Ralph Hasenhuttl should be manager of the season. I mean, he's absolutely mugged us off, hasn't he? We sang his praises yesterday, and he watched it. He's like, I'll make these 2 look like absolute mugs on the internet. So, I mean, fair play to United, but I mean, that's just shocking. And like you say, that at least Arsenal didn't do that, because I thought it was going to happen. The way that Wolves were playing, Neto in particular, he was just finding so many gaps.
So Wolves have got quite a few. I mean, if they had like Jimenez, it could potentially have been a lot worse because he's obviously their goal scorer. I definitely thought Wolves were there for the taking. They hadn't won a game in so long, and their confidence must have been so low.
I mean, you could see it though.
From the first 45 minutes, I was like, oh my God, they're playing so good, nothing can go wrong. And literally, I just
everything went wrong, Chris.
It was just crazy how it happens. And I mean, there has been times when Arsenal have gone down to 10 men and they've sort of managed to get results, like against Chelsea a few seasons ago, where we managed to draw 2-2 after going 10 men against them. And and that happens. Sometimes it's harder to play against 10 men because 10 men, they sort of more go defensive and more organised and stuff like that. So I thought we might have definitely got a result yesterday. But Wolves have done the double over us now. They've taken 6 points from us. They beat us at the Emirates. And it's the bloke with his long beard and his stupid balding head. It's fucking me in a few years' time, that guy is. I've done it. I've gone to the future and I've screwed my team over. This is what is happening. Hey, I'm so angry.
There he is. There he is, old Nuno in his Arsenal shirt over there.
Terrible.
I mean,
I was just so angry.
But like you said, before you went off on one about Nuno's bald head, Wolves were there for the taking, and I'm so surprised at Wolves this season.
I thought they'd be up there in the European positions.
Minimum. I thought, they might have a hangover a little bit because of, Europa League football, and COVID meant that the season just sort of dragged and dragged and dragged, and there wasn't much of a pre-season for anyone. So I kind of thought that Wolves might struggle, but not to this degree. And like you say, first half they weren't in the game. They were not in the game, and then
we had like 70% possession, like 30, 40 minutes in. They just couldn't get out.
And the thing is with Wolves, they're always a side that even if you have 60, 70% possession against them, it doesn't mean anything because that's what they don't care about having the ball that much. They are a counter-attacking side, but they didn't carry that threat in that first half at all. Traore looked very, very frustrating. He's got everything in his locker, but it just doesn't seem to deliver consistently. I think
he's got pace. He's really quick. But then his final ball was just like watching Walcott of old. It was like, oh my god,
he's almost too
yeah,
quick, isn't he? He gets into
yeah,
like full head of steam, and then
yeah,
it's like he can't sort his feet out to get the final ball in. If he could, I mean, it's like Giroud, isn't it? If Giroud had
yeah,
pace, he'd be the best player in the world. His build-up play, his passing, he's amazing, but he's a snail, isn't he? So,
yeah,
but
mate,
but yeah, I thought Wolves were there for the taking, and even in the second half, Moutinho scores an absolutely stunning goal. And then for about 5 or 10 minutes, I really worried for Arsenal. I thought you were rocking. I thought Neto was finding gaps. Traore, when he just knocked the ball past Cedric with ease, and I kind of thought, oh my god, like Wolves could score 4 or 5 here. This could be really bad. But credit to Arsenal, you hung in there, and you had that chance with Aubameyang right at the end.
yeah.
But
it was crazy because what they did when we had 9 men on the pitch, they suffocated us. They just kept the ball, didn't they? They knew that we had to change the game. They were just making us run around the pitch. We couldn't get anything, couldn't create anything. Like you said, there was that one chance which we could have scored at the end. But and I think Wolves managed the game quite well with the man advantage because like they could have. I mean, I think Arsenal got a better team than Wolves. I mean, call me crazy, but man for man,
I would agree. I think most people would agree that Arsenal probably got a better side than Wolves. I mean,
yeah,
I would say so.
I suppose, I don't know. They just suppose when you lose, 2 people, it's just it's crazy. It's a mental thing as well, as they've obviously just been run. They run so much that game as well. So we must have been absolutely knackered. But I mean, we've got Villa next. So
away as well,
mate,
isn't
that
it?
could go. Huh?
Is it? It's at Villa Park, isn't it?
Yes, at Villa Park. Yeah. Sorry, it's at Villa Park. Yeah.
Obviously,
so they beat us 3-0 at home already. So
they did. Yeah, they.
Knows what's going to happen.
Well, I think Arsenal are in a much better place than they were back then. But yeah, I mean, don't bloody mention Villa away
not a
for
good
me.
Christmas,
I mean,
that wasn't. That's a bad Christmas time. That was.
I mean,
December, November.
But so obviously Leno's not going to play.
Yeah, and got no Leno. Tierney, who knows where Tierney is? I mean, makes it out he's all hard and all that in the snow. But where are you, mate? I mean,
well, that's it.
Pitch.
He was out in the snow with a t-shirt and socks. He's clearly got the flu.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
And then you've got obviously Louise will be out, but I don't think that'd be too big a miss because if you can just slot Gabriel right in there, so it should be Gabriel Holding. I can imagine we'll go Bellerin again and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know, with Runnison in goal as well, because what I've seen that
is it going to be him?
It might. I mean, Matt Ryan seems to be injured at the moment. We seem to have just bought an injured goalkeeper.
It's going to be that. Who's that midfielder you bought? It was the season where we finished second. I think it was
Suarez.
About 6-7 years ago, the Swedish midfielder, and
Kim Källström.
He just turned up with like a broken back.
Penalty. He scored in the FA Cup semi-final.
Oh, did he play? I didn't even think. I didn't realise he'd actually ever played a game. I thought he just turned up, did his back in, and then was just, claiming money off you. So, maybe Matt Ryan will do. Because I've heard
Matt Ryan, I thought was a good signing. I thought he's a solid backup goalkeeper, but then he's injured. But we've seen videos of him in training. The Arsenal always post training videos of the team. And you can see the likes of him diving and stuff. If he can move, just put him in ahead of Runnison, because I'd rather have 40% Ryan to that Runnison bloke.
Well,
who's Iceland keeper, and I don't think he starts for Iceland. So what's that about? There's only 200,000 people in Iceland of men, and he's not even the best goalkeeper in the country. And he plays for Arsenal, and they've got Matt Ryan, who's a Premier League player who's got over 100 Premier League appearances. Just injured, but I mean, I don't know what they feed Arsenal players, because we just get injured all the time. What's wrong with everyone?
Don't you bloody talk to me about injuries.
Tierney at Celtic, I swear he didn't get injured once, and he's come to Arsenal and he's just broken. I don't understand why people just can't.
He came to you injured, didn't he? He arrived
yeah,
injured because he missed like the first part of his first season, didn't he?
yeah. So
Yeah,
the best of
and then
Tierney.
there was Danny Welbeck. He was never injured at United. I mean, he's never played for you lot, has he? He's just
Hey, yeah, and he's at Brighton now, and I think he's been there every game. He hasn't missed a game for
he's been
Brighton.
pretty good at Brighton, hasn't he? He looks you know, I wouldn't say he's turned a corner massively, but he looks fit. He looks strong. Walcott, Southampton. He's a new man.
Yeah, he's played every game.
Fighting
I don't
fit,
know.
and yeah, just
I just don't understand why they get injured at Arsenal. These players. I mean, yeah, Van Persie injured. One good season he had. One good season, Man United bought him, and he played phenomenally for them for 2 seasons. He won them the league and everything. One season.
yeah,
And
yeah,
once for them.
yeah. He was there for Fergie's final season, wasn't he? And
Something
then
in the water about that bloody North London. That's all I'm saying.
well, don't you talk to me about injuries because Liverpool are meant to play Brighton tonight, and no Mane. Now apparently Alisson's out injured. I mean, good grief. Oh, if I see Adrian in goal tonight, oh, like
mate, I think you're still gonna win that. You've got a good squad.
are we better?
And mate, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard a few negative things. So going back to Renarsson, is that how you say his name, Renarsson or Renarsson?
Yeah, Renarsson. Yeah.
You don't even care, do you? You're so broken. So yeah, Runnison. I've only heard like bad things about him. Unfortunately, that he's not very good, or I think he had like a really bad game in the Europa League. So when he came on, I thought, oh god. But he made a couple of
good saves.
I thought he looked okay. He doesn't look. I don't know how young he is, but he doesn't look big. And I was, he didn't even look particularly tall. But then, we've got a young goalkeeper, Kelleher, who's come in, and I thought last year he played in the academy and in a couple of like he played in the 5-5. Can't talk. He played in the 5-5 game against your lot in the Carabao Cup last year, and he let in 5 goals. And I don't think any were particularly.
We lost that bloody game though, didn't we? Fucking 5 goals at Anfield and couldn't even come home with a victory. It's a disgrace. What's wrong with the people?
Oh, Emery,
I've got this Aubameyang top. Aubameyang, I paid for this, and he hasn't scored a goal since I've freaking bought it. What's going wrong with everyone? It's just ridiculous. I'm so angry. It's too dark. My face is too dark. That's too bright behind me. Can't get the lighting right. My phone's balanced on a can of vegetable soup. Look, last time it was just moving around too much.
Oh god! Oh mate, I'm gonna pass out.
Oh no, you fell over now. Oh mate, I don't know.
Oh my word!
You'll beat Brighton later. Because the thing is, we could have, without a win against Wolves, it would have taken us to 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, every team had a game in hand against us, but even Villa's got like 3 games in hand against us, and they're 2 points ahead of us. But now we're 10th, I think. And I mean, it was a massive game. It was the chance to propel ourselves to Champions League. Potentially top 4, but it's not going to happen now.
Yeah,
we've played 22 games. We've played every team once, I think now. And I just don't know. I don't know. It's ruined our streak of winning games as well, which I think is going to affect us now. Because once you're on that winning streak, you get that momentum.
Yeah.
And you can carry it on to next game. But now I can see us losing to Villa, and then I think we've got.
It's a tough game.
I can't remember we've got after that, but we've got a few tough games coming up as well.
Yeah, I watched the Arsenal United game last weekend, and I was watching, or I was listening rather, to Jamie Carragher saying, top 6, Arsenal have no chance of getting top 6, and I thought, well, that's a bit harsh, because I thought,
sense.
He speaks sense when he's not spitting at people. But I thought with the form that you've been on, and obviously at the time, Liverpool were awful, and we were we dropped down to 4th, and I thought, what, if you keep this up, because the league is so congested, if you could carry on this run of form, which I thought you would have an opportunity of getting top four, I still wouldn't write you off, because the league has been so mad this season that Arsenal could go to Villa Park. It's going to be difficult, but win and then go on like a 5-6 game unbeaten streak.
Yeah, but look, you've got Man United, who are obviously in form now. They're going to come top four. Man City look like they're back to the way they were. Liverpool, you'll finish top four, Liverpool, and then even like Leicester. Leicester look better than us. Everton look better than us. Villa look better than us. There's no, I don't know. I just can't see us where we're going to creep in at all, because
yeah,
But
I wouldn't.
I do trust Arteta, so we just got to stick with him. And I think he's building something. So who knows in a few years' time where what will happen?
Well, look, I really like Arteta. I think he's doing a really good job, and I wouldn't put money on Arsenal finishing top four. You're definitely the outside chance, but I just, because of the way the league's been this season, I just think if anyone puts a run of games together, that you you leap up the table. And I just think without, I don't know what it is at the moment. I don't know if it's fans or a lack of fans rather, but so many teams don't seem to have that inner confidence. And it's like Man United, they were, unbeaten for so long, winning every game. Whether they were scraping 1-0s or putting 9 goals past people, and then they lose to Sheffield United, they draw against your lot, and it's suddenly the world comes crashing down. And the United fan base are like, oh, not all of them obviously, but some are like, Ollie out, he's not good enough. The Liverpool fans as well. We won the Champions League, we won the Premier League in the last 2 seasons. Yes, we went 5 games without winning, and it was horrible. The football was terrible, but just the confidence around the club and like the fans were like, oh, we're not going to finish. We're not going to win the league. Which fair enough. I agree with. I don't think we will. Although I'd like to see us, at least really challenge for it. And if City win, then fair enough. But people were like, oh, we won't even finish top 6 the way we're playing. I kept hearing like Klopp out in certain places, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, I know football's so reactionary. I don't really know what I'm going on about with my point, but it's just like teams seem to don't have that inner confidence at the moment. Like people talking about United didn't believe they could win the title.
I do think all this, like you say, with social media, more fans have their voice, and I do think that. I mean, Arsenal had just gone 6 games unbeaten, got some good results away to Brighton and stuff like that, and like you say, as soon as we lose to Wolves, draw to United, 2 sort of games where we drop points. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's different if people were in the stadium or not, but everyone's just sort of at home on their computers saying Arteta out and stuff like that. It's weird now how sort of media has affected football, because all you read about in these articles are just disgruntled fans and stuff. And I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it might have been like that in the 80s and stuff, but people obviously didn't have the technology to want, I don't know, Graham Taylor out or all these old managers there. They're just used from the sidelines. But
I know what you mean.
There's a lot of opinions out there. I mean, even I'm giving my opinion as well. I mean, so.
I mean, look, lockdown has created an opportunity for 2 absolute weirdos to come together and make a podcast dedicated to Big Sam's long balls. I mean, what on earth? But it feels like if a manager goes 2 or 3 games without a win, suddenly their job's on the line. And
I mean, look at Frank Lampard. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know,
Yeah,
I think that's a weird one as well.
And it is, because if say they had different jobs, say if Arteta was at Chelsea, he'd be sacked, because obviously you've had your bad run of form, and if Lampard was at Chelsea, he would probably still be there. So it's the case of like, is Arteta like up here and like Lampard's down here, or you don't know. I mean, if Lampard had time, you might have been able to turn it around, and who knows. We've kind of gone off on one. We've gone on a rant about social media and owners not giving managers time, but I think going back to no, we'll carry on. You were going to make a point.
Well, I was saying you can sort of tell. I think you can tell when you're watching a football match if the players are playing for the manager. And I mean, I was watching Chelsea, and I think some of them were still playing for Lampard. But obviously they've got that ruthless streak with Abramovich, who just gets rid of things if they're not going his way. And obviously they do spend a lot of money as well, which is different from sort of Arsenal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think Arteta's obviously been given a lot of time. Solskjaer's given a lot of time as well at United. But I think the ethos of the clubs, I mean, you can see the past couple of years, Arsenal and Man United have only had about, Man United have had about 5, 6 managers since Fergie's left, or maybe even less than that. They had Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho.
Yeah, it's the fourth, isn't it?
Probably missing someone there. Yeah, and then Chelsea have had so many, haven't they? Just season after season. But
it's just the attitude, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
at Chelsea, it's Champions League.
Who were they?
Premier
Money.
League.
Who were Chelsea? Who were they? What's Chelsea?
Well, I mean, look, that's Abramovich, isn't it? He's in it to win the big prizes. If a manager, I mean, he doesn't hire managers to have a 5-year project. The only reason why Lampard was probably given time is because they couldn't buy anyone last season. So it was bring the youth players through, and it's harsh, it's horrible, but Lampard wasn't going to win the league or probably the Champions League this year. So for Abramovich, that's what he wants. Whereas at Arsenal, yeah, probably there's a bit of criticism at the owners, or probably quite a lot. Or, because he's sat on his...
More patience, I think. Just more patience at Arsenal.
Well, I mean, you could argue, couldn't you? You could say it's patience, or you could say it's a lack of ambition. It depends what kind of mood you're in, really, as a fan. And then at Man United, I think, in a weird way, Man United kind of have a good combination. I know people don't like the Glazers and Edward Wood, and they want a director of football, but they've given managers time, and they've given Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time, but they've also backed him. How much was Maguire? 80 million or
80 million? Yeah,
80 million, something like. Wan-Bissaka was 50 million. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes was probably about 60 million, which seems like a steal. So, and probably a couple more, but they've also given him time. So it's just a complete difference in.
Yeah, I suppose club ethos, isn't it? Yeah, just I suppose the way they run as well. But I don't know. I do think this club is cursed, though. Definitely cursed. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Every time it looks like it's going well, something has to go wrong, doesn't it? I mean, yeah.
I think before we wrap up, because you've had your rant about the game, we've had a conversation about referees. I think maybe we agree with the main thing is that rules need to change.
Yeah. I think there are. I think David Luiz didn't. I think the other guy hit David Luiz, not the other way around. So I don't know. It's just it's crazy. There's so much blurred lines in football. There's just too much.
Yeah, there's actually. We could do this as another podcast if you want, about the officials and the rules, and we can go for a much longer episode. But
it's still people making the decisions, isn't it? At the end of the day, VAR's there for them to look at, but it's still a person who's actually looking at it and saying,
yeah, and
that's offside, that's onside, that's handball, that's not handball.
Yeah, I think for me, what I would like to see as a change is, people might disagree with this, but I don't agree with this attitude of it's English referees. It's the English Premier League, but we don't just have English players. So why do we only have English referees? So I would happily see European referees, those who officiate in European leagues and obviously European competitions. And then
qualified, aren't they? They've got the qualifications.
They have.
Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything. Get them in. Get them in.
And we've now got female assistants, which I think is great. And I would love to see women referees and women officials, because football is for men and women. So I'm kind of tired of seeing, let's be honest, half the referees are overweight middle-aged men who can't.
White as well.
Exactly. You made a really good point. They are
all
white.
Chinese ref or a black ref, do you?
No, you don't.
There's one scary alien ref in Italy that time. I mean, out of species referees is fine. Get that alien bloke in, ET. Don't get aliens get a chance before women in this country. It's mad in the fucking football. It's just bizarre. What's going on?
I agree. And look, I mean, Does having a black referee or a woman referee mean they're going to make better decisions? No, not by definition. But there needs to be, more of a mix. And then we're seeing just fat middle-aged white men make the decisions, make the wrong decisions, and then the person who then is on VAR to overlook it is also a fat middle-aged white bloke who's going, I'm not gonna disagree with him because it's gonna make my friend look stupid.
Yeah.
So they're all just helping each other out. So I would have European refs, female officials, 100%. And another reason why I'd have female officials is because I think what I really hate is when players crowd the ref and scream and shout in their face.
Yeah,
I think having a female ref,
yeah,
would mean that I think sometimes the men would feel like they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do it anyway. But I think if we had like female refs, they would just naturally would just probably be a little bit more respectful. Whether they should be that way for the men, they should be, but they're not. So I think that would help refs out.
I went to a non-league game. I went to see Hastings United, which is my local team, play a game, and it was a female. Where there actually was a female referee for that game for non-league football.
Yeah.
But sadly,
oh no.
Obviously there's a crowd there, isn't it? And some of the chanting and some of the abuse that the female referee was getting from the crowd was a bit unnecessary and unneeded, which is sad. But you'd think, being 2021, it will be over. All that will be over. But I think with the crowds in the stadium, I do think there will still be, like you say, there's a lot of people just giving a racist abuse still to people, and I think there will be sort of sexist abuse to these female referees if there was people in the stadium. So I don't know if it'd be a good time to test it out now. They're all empty, the stadiums.
I think that would be a perfect time. Bring them in because they're not going to have idiots on the sidelines, shouting stupid stuff. And also, it gives clubs and the Premier League time to prepare and to be really ruthless. That as they should be anyway. But people in the crowd who are chanting abuse, like racial abuse, they need to be found. They need to be whether they need to be identified or not is another debate. Whether that's fair to put their name out there in the public, but they should be known by the club and then banned for life, and then the police can deal with it, and the players can then deal with it if they want to obviously take it further. And it gives the Premier League time to go, okay, right, we're going to have women officials in, which is brilliant. What are we going to do when inevitably there's going to be a bunch of idiots chanting or shouting sexist abuse at them? And it gives them time, and actually also no excuses that when fans do come in, that they are on it straight away. And if there's no time for it, and that
definitely, and 100% agree with that. And we'll see.
I doubt it, because the people in charge don't want things to change, do they, in football? It just sucks. And I just think having European refs, female officials, just freshens things up a bit in the game, and new faces, because we're seeing the same bad decisions over and over again, and it's the same people making them. So new people in would excite me.
Thousands of people must be. There must be there's obviously qualifications you have to do to be a referee, and there must be thousands of people out there doing it. Non-league and stuff, and I don't know. I don't know if these people know somebody in the business. That's why they're where they are in the positioning. But you just don't know.
Who on earth does Mike Dean know? Jesus Christ! I mean,
hey, I don't know.
That man stole a living. But you know what? My third and final point about refs is, yes, European refs, female officials, I'm all on board for. I'd love to see. But third and finally, I would love to see officials being interviewed at the end of games and having to answer questions, because managers do, players do, but refs can make shocking decisions and they're never accountable. They don't ever have to explain themselves. And I think that's just appalling. I don't know about you.
No, it's true. They get away with it, and then it's just left to the managers to defend or to slag off the officials after the game, and they don't say why they made the decision or anything. It is crazy. They've only just recently started having ex-referees, haven't they, in the studio for the pundits to talk to and say, Mark Clattenburg, why would you have done this, and blah blah blah, and asking for retired referees' opinions in the studio rather than asking the current ones on the actual pitch making the decisions. It's weird, isn't it? they're not allowed to
I
say, you know, I don't know. Must be something in the rule book again.
must.
This rule book's crap. Whatever it is, it's bloody terrible.
It is,
Yeah.
and look, you never really see English referees in like World Cups or European competitions,
No.
and that to me says everything. At the business end of the season and at the biggest competitions, they're not there. So I don't look when we're emotional when we watch football, of course we are, and when things go against us, we're like, oh, you're corrupt, you know, you're favouring that side. I don't think it's I wish it was in a way because actually the worry for me is that these refs are just so inept, and the people making up the rules don't seem to know what they're doing. The offside rule seems to change halfway through the season. They've had to change the handball rule.
Yeah.
It just they don't get it. It just feels like football isn't being made by football fans or football people. It's just being made by, who are they?
They're just doing it off the cuff, aren't they? Just making up as it goes along. They're like this handball thing where it has to hit, you know, a certain area further down your arm and everything, and but it has to be in an unnatural position, and then the term for unnatural position changes every time. Does it have to, if it's away from the body but they didn't mean to handle it, is it handball? It's just so many different things. I mean, I don't know. You never used to have all this, you know,
No,
and it's all like a recent thing, and I don't know. I do think it's sort of slowly killing the game.
I do.
Especially with that VAR, with the people just can't celebrate after scoring a goal anymore because you don't know if 40
Yeah,
minutes ago in the build-up play, someone may or may not have been a touch offside, you know, for the goal, and you just I don't know.
yeah. It feels to me that they've got to every year they've got to change something. They've got to introduce a new rule. It's almost like to sell a product, you've got to like, oh, it's going to make it even more exciting. Well, the thing is, people are always going to buy into football because we love it. It's a sport. You don't have to sell it to us. You know, even when your team's crap, even when Roy Hodgson is your manager, you still turn up and you watch each week because you love the game and you love and you love your team. You don't have to make up new rules. And it feels like almost very American, almost like there's like a brand new rule and we're going to have more penalties and more goals. And it's like, well, the game was perfect. And I remember the handball rule for me, how I always think of it as best is when we played almost professionally. Nowhere near. When we played
Fulham that one time,
we did play.
Fulham,
We did play Fulham. Although actually, no, we didn't play Fulham. You played Fulham because
I was on the bench.
Were you? You were our best player. I bottled it. I didn't turn up.
The manager. Oh, really?
Yeah, because my dad said to me before the game, "Oh, there might be some scouts." So I pretended to be ill and I didn't want to turn up. I could have been playing for Fulham.
You could have been a new Scott Parker. You could have been Scott Parker if you wanted to be.
but look, the handball rule. What I was talking about is it was so simple. What we were taught when we were kids is just ball to hand. You know, if someone strikes the ball and you're really close to them and it hits the hand, it's not handball because you can't do anything. If if someone kicks the ball and it hits you on the knee and it bounces up and hits your hand, it's not handball because that's accidental. It's ball to hand. It's only if the ball comes flying in and you do that with it, and it's really intentional. Yes, handball. But I don't get it. It's now. I mean, God knows what the next rule is going to be. Like,
I don't know.
We've kind of gone on one. I think we've been going for the best part of an hour again, and we kind of said we wouldn't do this.
A burger getting delivered at some point.
Yeah. So we'll bring it to a close so Chris can have his bloody burger.
I need comfort food.
Is it?
Yes, what I mean.
Is there any final points you want to make about either Arsenal, refs, the Villa game, whatever you want? The
Craig Pawson should be sacked. Never to referee a game again. I'm trying to think what else. No, other than that, I'm pretty happy.
You're pretty happy.
We might beat Villa. Look, there's always a chance. But Martinez will probably just turn up and save, every shot. Who knows? We'll come back in a week's time and we'll see.
We will. I mean, if Liverpool bottle it, you can expect a podcast tomorrow because I'll be hairline will start to get higher and higher, and I'll be furious about that. But so
Yeah.
right,
It's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure.
it has been a pleasure. Well, thanks a lot, Chris, for the podcast.
Cheers. It's been a good one, I think. Got a lot off our chests.
You have, yeah. But thanks a lot, everyone, for watching. Subscribe to Big Sam's Long Balls podcast. Give the video a like. Comment below. These refs, what would you change? Or are you just happy that Chris is absolutely livid about an Arsenal game? I mean,
Mate, I smile a lot, but inside I'm angry. This is me angry. This, the future Nuno Sanchez with this bloke here. No.
Oh, brilliant. Right. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.